There is massive deployment of security forces in Murshidabad in Bengal. The situation is tense. Fortunately, no violence right now. Now, there is an eerie calm on the streets. There are disturbing revelations that have come to the fore. And all of these are a matter of investigation. But even as the Bengal police investigates the violence in Bengal, eyewitness accounts have horrifying tales of what transpired in Murshidabad in the wake of the Waqf Act after the Jummah Namaz on Friday. We get you a ground report.
Murshidabad is slowly recovering from deadly anti-Waqf riots, which killed 3 and forced 500 local residents to turn refugees. Investigators have uncovered a disturbing trend. Children and teenagers pelting stones, vandalizing shops and residences. Rioters had set fire to multiple homes, attacked residents, forcing a Hindu exodus.
जला दिया जात सब परिवार का जात था वो सब लूट लिया.
And now a day later, the residents are slowly returning under heavy police cover.
इस वक्त हम लोग मुर्शिदाबाद के सूती इलाके में हैं और सबसे पहले घटना की शुरुआत यहीं से हुई थी. अभी भी भारी संख्या में फोर्स की तैनाती यहां पर रखी गई है और शुक्रवार के दिन जुमे की नमाज के बाद जब ये शुरुआत हुई तो सबसे पहले इसी इलाके में प्रदर्शनकारियों के साथ पुलिस की हिंसा भड़की.
स्थिति अभी सामान्य होती जा रही है और बीएसएफ है यहाँ पर पिछले शुक्र से लगी हुई है, शुक्रवार से, और स्टेट पुलिस के साथ ही मिलके हम लोग कार्य कर रहे हैं और इलाके में शांति के लिए जॉइंटली भरसक प्रयत्न कर रहे हैं और काफी कुछ शांति आई भी है.
Trying to ensure that this case is dealt with the greatest sensitivity, the greatest responsibility, so that all the actual persons who had gone there and who had indulged in this kind of heinous crime are brought to book.
Bengal cops blamed banned PFI front SDPI for brainwashing local Muslim community by spreading lies about snatching of Muslim land.
SDPI का हाथ इसमें जो सामने आ रहा है उसमें सबसे बड़ी बात है कि जो वक्फ विधेयक था उसके खिलाफ लगातार एक मुहिम चलाई गई पूरे मुर्शिदाबाद इलाके में SDPI की ओर से. जांच में यह भी खुलासा हो रहा है कि SDPI के सदस्य घर घर जाकर खासतौर पर 10, 11, 12 साल की उम्र के बच्चों को टारगेट कर रहे थे.
The BJP sought a NIA probe and posted a video of Mamata Banerjee warning against possible Muslim unrest in assembly and called the riot state-sponsored.
একটা ধর্মের নামে এত কুৎসা করছেন, একটা অপপ্রচার করছেন, একদিন তারা যদি একটা আন্দোলনের ডাক দেয় আপনি নিজেকে সামলে রাখতে পারবেন তো?
আমরা চাই NIA দ্রুত মুর্শিদাবাদ দাঙ্গা হাতে নিক. আমার বিশ্বাস মুর্শিদাবাদ থেকে আপনি আর একটা ইটের আওয়াজ পাবেন না. বাকিটা যে জব্দ করার দরকার, NIA আসা দরকার. 100 কোটি টাকার প্রপার্টি নষ্ট করেছে হিন্দুদের.
The TMC pointed fingers at BJP and border guards BSF, saying they stoked fire.
There was a larger conspiracy behind those incidents. Some section of central agency, a section of BSF and a section of 2 or 3 political parties. They were involved in this conspiracy.
While scores have been arrested for the violence, will the real perpetrators behind Murshidabad riots be brought to book? With Anupam Mishra in Murshidabad, Bureau Report, India Today.
It is said a spark neglected burns the house. Murshidabad remains on the edge. And now let's get you some details of what police that are now investigating this riots seem to believe and are probing. So they're saying that the SDPI, which is the political wing of the banned organization Popular Front of India, maybe or perhaps is responsible for the anti-Hindu violence and riots that took place in Murshidabad. Murshidabad, incidentally, used to be a stronghold of the banned Students Islamic Movement of India. SIMI, incidentally, was that organization that was responsible. Remember the 2006 train blast, serial blast in the Mumbai train network system where more than 200 people were killed? It's the same Students Islamic Movement of India or Indian Mujahideen. That was the terrorist organization that was involved, backed by Pakistan, and carried out that terror attack. Incidentally, SIMI or the PFI was also linked to blasts that took place at Prime Minister Narendra Modi's rally, and especially you'd recall the Patna rally in the run-up to elections. Post-2001, when SIMI was banned, a large number of its cadre, they just jumped ship and joined the Popular Front of India. In 2022, when the Popular Front of India got banned, the cadre shifted to SDPI. And this radical network has been very active in Murshidabad for a very long time. So SIMI, PFI, SDPI, and according to reports, there are several radical elements from across the border in Bangladesh. They've been very active, and especially in the wake of the Waqf Act. Now, when there was violence last time, one of the victims who was killed, his kin alleged, and we will get you to listen to them. They said activists of the Students Islamic Movement of India's new front, this SDPI, they've been active in inciting Muslim youth, going home to home and recruiting people under the age of 18. Why? Because even if they get arrested on the basis of either CCTV cameras or if they're caught on camera carrying out riots of violence, because they're minors, action would not be the same if they were adults. Now, India Today's Anupam spoke to ADG BSF Ravi Gandhi at one of the strong points of violence at Shamsherganj in Murshidabad. The ADG insists Hindus who had fled their homes, slowly they are being encouraged to return home. He said the situation will return to normal. It is getting to normal very quickly, and the police presence is giving hope to people. They will be protected. Listen in.
रवि जी, अभी आप पूरे जगह घूम रहे हैं, मैंने देखा एक मंदिर में भी गए जहाँ तोड़फोड़ हुई थी, उसके बाद हर जगह रुक रहे हैं, लोगों से बात भी की, क्या स्थिति है अभी यहाँ?
देखिए, स्थिति अभी सामान्य होती जा रही है और बीएसएफ है यहाँ पर पिछले शुक्र से लगी हुई है, शुक्रवार से, और स्टेट पुलिस के साथ ही मिलके हम लोग कार्य कर रहे हैं और इलाके में शांति के लिए जॉइंटली भरसक प्रयत्न कर रहे हैं और काफी कुछ शांति आई भी है।
आपको लगता है कब तक ये स्थिति सामान्य हो पाएगी? लोगों में भरोसा अभी भी नहीं है, लेकिन
नहीं, थोड़ा देखिए, कोई भी चीज होती है थोड़ा समय तो लगता है। समय एक अपने आप में बहुत बड़ी शक्ति होता है, हीलिंग पावर है, और मुझे लगता है कि बहुत जल्दी बैक टू नॉर्मलिटी आ जाएगी। दोनों कम्युनिटी साथ रही हैं इतने लंबे समय तक, तो
पलायन कर गए, करीब 500 लोग पलायन कर
वापस आएंगे, बहुत सारे लोग वापस आ रहे हैं और सभी आ जाएंगे। फोर्सेज हैं, पुलिस है और गार्ड कर रहे हैं। मुझे लगता है कि सिचुएशन विल कम बैक टू नॉर्मल वेरी सून।
इस वक्त हम लोग धुलियान इलाके में हैं और यहाँ पर जो स्थानीय लोग हैं वो अभी भी सुरक्षित महसूस नहीं कर रहे हैं। एक आतंक का पर्याय यहाँ पर बना हुआ है। काफी संख्या में फोर्स है, लेकिन इनकी क्या स्थिति है वो बात करेंगे। आपका नाम बताएं।
मेरा नाम तन्मय सिंह।
अभी क्या स्थिति है? फोर्स तो काफी है।
फोर्स है, पैनिक अटैक चल रहा है मन में, लेकिन अभी थोड़ा बहुत शांत है। स्थिति जो है स्थिर है, कोई अभी दिक्कत में फोर्स है, इसीलिए कोई दिक्कत नहीं हो रहा है अभी कल चला जाएगा फोर्स, परसों चला जाएगा, तब क्या होगा हम लोगों को पता नहीं है।
आप क्या चाह रहे हैं फिर? परमानेंट सॉल्यूशन क्या चाह रहे हैं?
अभी एक तो म्यूचुअल, और उसके बाद आपका फोर्स का जो ये है वो ज्यादा देर तक मैंने स्टेज अप ही करेगा।
कोई कैंप रखवाना चाह रहे हैं?
एकदम एक कैंप चाहिए,
सीआरपी कैंप चाहिए।
एकदम पहले था, 10-15 साल पहले था।
अच्छा,
था, वो उठ गया है।
वो कहाँ पे था?
वो आपका गंगा किनारे एक है, उधर ही था।
वो किस लिए रखा गया?
उठ गया आपका, इसीलिए पॉलिटिक्स के चक्कर में उठ गया।
यहाँ के लोगों का के मन में अभी भी आतंक है और चाह रहे हैं कि यहाँ पर कोई स्थायी सीआरपीएफ कैंप रखा जाए। क्या आपकी यही चाह रहे हैं?
हाँ, तो यही होना चाहिए ना। ठीक है, यहाँ से तो बाहर का आदमी आता है ऐसे करता है, लोकल आदमी तो ऐसा नहीं करेगा।
बाहर का आदमी आकर ऐसा करता है, and that's the big question. Who are these elements? Where are they coming from? What is the police intelligence network doing? Why aren't these people caught? And how can you have violence on the basis of absolute lies, canards that are spread in the name, this time of Waqf law, earlier, if you'd recall, of the Citizenship Amendment Act. So there's almost a pattern to this. India Today's Suryagni Roy now joins me with the latest on this big story. Suryagni, battle lines are drawn on ground politically with the kind of statements that are coming. The Trinamool Congress accuses a section of the BSF being involved in the conspiracy, and the BJP demanding an NIA investigation. Why are the two points of view so completely different of what transpired on ground? What's the situation right now?
Well, Gaurav, that's something that we have always seen, when some incident pops up, we have seen two extreme ends of, two extreme political, ends between the BJP and the Trinamool Congress. Now, that's something that we have seen once again. We heard the BJP, they want an NIA investigation in it. You heard the Trinamool Congress, they claimed that, BSF allowed outsiders to come in and they want a proper investigation in it. So amidst all of this, the major point is that how did that violence happen? And our colleague who's on the ground, Anupam Mishra, he spoke to the BSF ADG just, as we were showing. And the BSF is of the opinion that, their work is something that's a very pious work, and they make sure that no one really enters the state or the country from whichever border they are operating at. And however, we have always seen this kind of politics between the BJP and the Trinamool Congress. In any
no, but is there merit in the allegation? Is there merit in the allegation that this was pre-planned violence to target Hindus and ensure that that area becomes Hindu-free, Hindu-shunya Murshidabad, as the BJP alleges?
Well, see, these are allegations, and only, be it the NIA or the CBI or the state agencies, whenever they complete a full-fledged investigation, only then, we can be able to answer these questions. However, what we have seen is, yes, there were attacks on the Hindus over there at their residences, and following which two people lost their lives. So this is a very tragic incident, Gaurav, and it has to be seen how the investigation happens. Back to you.
Keep tracking that story. I will come back to you for more. Now, the violence, according to some of the reports that have come in from Bengal, the opposition in Bengal insists it was pre-planned, and it was planned in such a way that only Hindu homes and Hindu shops were targeted after Friday prayers, and look at how it happened. So first, the national highway was blocked in an area which is known as Suti, which led to certain clashes. Now, naturally, the moment that information spread about arson and violence, the police rushed in. Then there were reports of violence and arson in Shamsherganj, which is about 10 kilometers away from this point. So the police were engaged in Suti. The violence spread elsewhere. Roads were blocked. Highways were blocked. According to information filtering out, Hindu shops and homes were targeted, and government property was systematically targeted in the name of opposition to the Waqf Act. A large number of the rioters, according to initial information, they were youngsters. They were minors below the age of 18. Police are in the line of fire for being ill-prepared to deal with this situation, and especially in an extremely sensitive area and very close to the borders. So forces from Jangipur, while they were sent, they were delayed, and the allegation is that law and order completely collapsed until the High Court, the Calcutta High Court, came down very heavily on the administration, saying deploy central forces. A father and son, like you know, a Hindu father and son, they were dragged out of their home. They were idol makers. Murti banate the Devi Devtao ki. They were dragged out of their house and hacked in this systematic violence. What we were also told, that central forces had to be deployed because the court said cannot keep our eyes shut to the deteriorating situation on ground. So that's the ground reality. The Trinamool Congress, on the other hand, have accused the border security force of being a hand in glove and bringing in illegal Bangladeshis so that they could carry out the violence and then escorting them back across the border in an effort to target the Mamata Banerjee government. So as Murshidabad reels under days of relentless violence, a humanitarian crisis is also unfolding. More than 500 residents, and most of them Hindus, they fled their homes after deadly clashes over the Waqf Act, or targeting of Hindu homes over the Waqf Act. India Today's Indrajit Kundu and Anupam Mishra are on ground zero. They've sent us this report.
Exodus to save life from Bengal riot zone. Cinched by deaths, violence and rioting over Waqf law. At least 500 Hindus, mostly women and children, fled Murshidabad. After attacks, arson, rape threats. Entire families fled Murshidabad by boat. Some carrying infants, others with nothing but trauma. Survivors narrate mayhem unleashed by Muslim mobs who selectively targeted Hindu homes. Even kids were not spared. Women say rioters set their homes on fire and issued death threats.
মুসলিমরা অত্যাচার করছিল, এবার ঢেল চালাছিল, বম চালাছিল, তবে কি করবো, বাড়ি ঘর ছেড়ে আমরা ভয়ে পালিয়ে চলে এলাম। ওখানে ওই জন্য থাকিনি, মেয়েদেরকে অত্যাচার, ঘর দুয়ার সব পুড়িয়ে দিয়েছে, আগুন লাগিয়ে সব জ্বালানো হয়েছে। মেয়েদের উপরে অত্যাচার, ছেলেদের উপরে অত্যাচার সব মুসলিমেরা করছে।
पढ़ने की जो जगह है वहां पर शरणार्थी शरण लेकर रखे हुए हैं। 500 के आसपास महिलाएं, बच्चे, खास तौर पर महिलाएं, बच्चे हैं, डॉक्टर हैं यहाँ स्थानीय जो इस वक्त इनको देख रहे हैं। छोटे छोटे बच्चे हैं, 3 दिन के बच्चे लेकर ये महिलाएं यहाँ पर पहुंची हैं। किसी तरह बोट लेकर जो स्थानीय लोग हैं मालदा के, उन्होंने मदद की है इनकी और यहाँ पर रखा है।
India Today, meanwhile, visited the Das household in Murshidabad. Young Chandan Das and his elderly father were dragged out of their homes and hacked to death, allegedly by a Muslim mob protesting Waqf law. The family says no one from the administration bothered to help.
दूसरा संप्रदाय की वो जो ये आदमी है वो लोग इधर उधर से आया, पूरा एकदम तोड़ फोड़ किया, ढील झरा एकदम बड़ा बड़ा, इतना बड़ा बड़ा, पूरा इधर तो गिरा हुआ है ना, दरवाजा तोड़ दिया है, अंदर से निकल के इधर मारा है, पूरा काट दिया है।
पुलिस अपना चले गलो दिखे दे, আবার তখন মনে হলো সব তো বুঝিয়ে বাজিয়ে বলে দিল, তখন আমরা কি করব, মেয়ে ছেলে মানুষ। পোস্টমর্টম করে তো বডিটা বাড়ি ফেরার কথা, এখন পর্যন্তই হয়ে গেল না, 24 ঘন্টা হতে আসছে।
The Dhulian Shamsherganj area in the past 48 hours. You can see at the house right now, even though the BSF Jawans are manning it, this is the kind of carnage that was witnessed by the family, which has not just resulted in the destruction of property, but also the death of 2 members of this very family.
Is Bengal government helpless in face of rampant rioting and rising hate attacks? With Anupam Mishra in Malda and Indrajit Kundu in Murshidabad, Bureau Report, India Today.
A PIL has been moved in the Supreme Court seeking a court-monitored special investigation team probe into the Murshidabad violence. The plea has sought a court order to call for an explanation from the West Bengal government over the failure of the state to maintain law and order in Murshidabad. I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Srishti Ojha for more. Srishti, who's the petitioner? What's the prayer?
Gaurav, the PIL has been filed by a lawyer, Shashank Shekhar Jha, who sought directions from the top court through his PIL for a court-monitored SIT probe into the incidents of violence at Murshidabad. Not just that, he's gone a step ahead and he said that the top court should also call for an explanation from the state of West Bengal as to why there's no public law and order in place and why did they let this violence escalate and the situation happen. So they've also sought an explanation from the state of West Bengal. He's called the top court to pass directions to ensure that the violence doesn't escalate and also to protect the rights and liberties of the persons who are there. According to him, urgent intervention is needed from the top court to issue directions so fundamental rights of those who are now being affected there due to the violence, whose rights are now being violated, can be protected. So he's called for urgent intervention from the Supreme Court, stating that fundamental rights of these individuals need to be protected. And not just that, in his petition, he's also pointed out that there's a repeated pattern of such incidents as far as the state of West Bengal is concerned, and that is also something that the court should consider. When this
Keep tracking that story. I will come back to you for more. Srishti, for the moment, many thanks. There's more breaking news that's coming in. There's a clash. There's just been a clash between the police and an organization that calls itself the Indian Secular Front. So supporters of the Indian Secular Front clashed with the police in Bhangar in South 24 Parganas, and this so-called Indian Secular Front supporters were stopped from moving towards Kolkata. The police used force to disperse this mob or crowd. Suryagni Roy joins us for more. Suryagni, what more can you add? What's the current situation?
Well, the police, they're trying to contain the current situation over there. They're trying to bring back normalcy in that particular region of Bhangar. Bhangar, the rally was called by supporters and especially, the ISF, that is the Indian Secular Front. However, what we saw was a section of a crowd, of a rally, was stopped at Bhangar from entering Kolkata. That is where, this ruckus erupted, wherein we did see vandalism happen in the town of Bhangar itself.
Suryagni, keep tracking that story. I will come back to you for more.